Hello everybody, and thanks for checking out another video here on G4G, Games for Gamers. In this video, we're going to go through two more Rocket Raccoon teams and see how they fare in PvP and kind of give you an idea. This team over here is Team FarAway, which is one of the team-up bonuses that AntiVenom and Rocket Raccoon have. This actually causes you to play Rocket Raccoon a little bit differently. This isn't all about his jump-ins and his trigger happies, but it's actually all about setting him up for his level 9, the KERPLOWIE. So now, this is how I have modern Rocket Raccoon ISO'd and AISO'd and EISO'd at the moment. As you can see, I'm one short of having the full loadout, because he's not fully leveled yet. I have gone with the solver equation for him. So the last thing that I'm missing is another skillful. But I have the violent, the proficient, 2 steadies, and the eventual goal is 4 skillfuls. What this does is it bumps up his attack, his evasion, and his accuracy. And his health a little bit too. So the health, as you can see, is getting there. The stamina is a non-issue. His attack is pretty nice and high, and his accuracy and evasion are where they should be at 5 bars. I have the surprising empowered ISO here, Skull Thumper. This used to reside on my Bruiser Agent in the last couple of seasons. I've moved it over to modern Rocket Raccoon simply because he attacks so much and he's jumping in all over the place. Why not try to go for the free stun? I mean, he sometimes can attack 5 times in an entire round. His own attack and a bunch of jump-ins. So, that's why I have this equipped on him. This one, Ionizing Discharge, or the Ionizing Augmented, this is because he, again, does this attack so much. Let's slap radiation exposure in there. He does a bunch of energy things. See? Energy, energy, range gun tech, no energy there. But, again, energy. So this is the only thing that won't increase off of the radiation exposure, but his own blands will continue to stack up and get beefier and beefier. And he causes pain on it. So he's just ramping himself up by being himself. So for this team here with AntiVenom and Rocket Raccoon, you're not really that concerned about the jump-in. You're concerned about getting the opportunistic debuffs out from AntiVenom and then having Rocket Raccoon exploit it pretty early off of the KERPLOWIE. So how am I going about setting this up? Well, his level 9, as you can see here, not only exploits opportunistic debuffs, it also will crit on burning ones. So what I'm doing with my agent is I'm giving him a chance to jump in by 2 attacks from the Obliterator, and I'm the one causing his burning. This allows me to skip his level 6 and go right for the level 9 in the second round. The cube protects against that, and the Asgardian Tankard gives me another turn to kind of accelerate things a little bit. So, let's take these guys out in the field, and you can see how this team runs and what it's supposed to do. Weaknesses on this team are reality hacking and mirror reality. There's nothing worse than being ready to do the big hit and knowing that you can't. So, right here we're facing Havoc, which is good for my agent, except I have no single target attacks to take advantage of it. But unfortunately, we have a Tactician Beast over here. That ruins the plan slightly. So the goal in this round is to set up for the KERPLOWIE. Well, the KERPLOWIE takes 5 ammo cells. When you recharge, you gain 3. So in the first round, I can either do a blam and a recharge and I'll get it, or I can do a Murder Jew, which will eat 2, which will leave me 1, and it'll recharge for 3. So that's 4. That's not going to cut it. If I do my blam, I'm going to get an extra turn at a beast. So I'm actually just going to recharge. So now the other team has a shield, which lo and behold is going to be very, very, very bad news for them. And that's because of the Obliterator. The other bad thing for them is the fact that they can't remove their debuffs. So I'm going to go ahead and use the tankard. Now, unfortunately, this means I'm going to wind up making the contagion stick to me because of my quick action. So now I'm going to get completely debuffed for the corruption. But time to wreck their face. I'm going to set them up burning, which will help Rocket Raccoon, and I've now broken their shields. Unfortunately, I don't exploit it. So here comes the trigger happy. We've got a chance at a stun, and now we've got some radiation exposure on them. And I don't get beast in my face this time. And I'm going to finish it up with the Blackest Void. Blackest Void's not going to remove their buffs, but it might mean they can hit each other. Well, that's bad news. Except Rocket Raccoon is already gone. So I don't have to worry about losing his ability to reload. So now I'm going to go ahead and put out the opportunistic debuffs. Hopefully we can get some depowers, and if their agent attacks one of their own people, I should be sitting pretty for the big hit. Good. 2 depowers went out. And I was able to get the contagion over on the other side. Couldn't ask for a better move. So now, they've kept the contagion over there, and they haven't attacked. So now, it's time for the big hit of KERPLOWIE. They're burning, they have the opportunistic debuffs, they have everything for him to exploit. Unfortunately, due to the debuffs going around on my own team, the hits are a little weaker than they could be, but as you can see, they were crits, and it was still some pretty decent damage. And you see all that exploit opportunity going out, and the combustible? That's what this team does. It's not all about the jump in, it's all about the setup for the exploit of opportunity. You can kind of help this by using X-Obliv if you have it. But now, unfortunately, Beast gets an extra turn, and he spends it hitting on Havoc. Perfect. But he's depowered, so he didn't generalize Havoc. And he's still doing some pretty decent damage to my AntiVenom. Now, I apologize, my AntiVenom's not ISO'd yet, and that's why he's a little weak. But we get to prolong things with Life Fantastic. Using momentary advantage isn't going to help me here, because I can only do one thing. So I'm just going to use Life Fantastic, and I'll protect my team a little bit. Hopefully, I take some big hits from these guys and get a big heal. So he channeled energy, so now he's infected himself over here, which is perfect. A pretty decent shattering punch. So now Crusade goes and exploits opportunity also. Let's take out their beast, who happens to also be flanked. Look at that. No ISOs and did 23k. That's pretty massive. That's what this team does. They put out the opportunity. Oh, well, that's going to be a problem. Havoc jumped in. But he didn't kill AntiVenom. So now, because he was exhausted before, he has to reload. He could have reloaded the last turn, but he was messed up. So now here we are back to my agent. This time, I'm going to use my momentary advantage, but I'm going to make sure I'm not exhausted first. Okay, I'm not. So I'm going to use this, which means my first round will be a double hit from the Obliterator, and Rocket Raccoon's going to jump in on the second hit. So now they're weakened, still can't get any shields. Here comes Rocket Raccoon with a chance to stun, more radiation poisoning. And now we're going to go ahead and hit him with the improbability field. Still quite in danger of losing AntiVenom, but Rocket Raccoon's pretty healthy at this point, and I've got some shields. Let's see what Havoc does. Now I have to recharge because I've got nothing left that I can do. That is one of the drawbacks of this setup, is that the agent has some empty turns. My Mirror Reality procced and helped out a couple of my guys, but I'm going to lose AntiVenom. Oh, nice. The debuffs, those buffs from the cube and his own symbiote kept him going. So now I'm going to try to get a lucky D-power on the enemy team again, which hopefully will shut down his cube. Impaired is good. Immobilize is good. D-power on the Havoc, but not the agent, who just died. So, at this point again, I can go ahead and recharge and try for another KERPLOWIE, but I think I'll just melt his armor. Yeah, he's still... Why is my Rocket Raccoon not able to... Yeah, he's still exhausted. Okay. Well, because their beast is gone, I get to use the Elixir of Recovery, clean my agent off, and I think I'll just take him out in the Atom Smasher. So here is an opportunistic... Wow, nice damage. So there you go. There's Team Opportunity, Team FarAway, Rocket Venom. So that's one way that you can use Rocket Raccoon in combat. Now we're going to take a look at a more obvious way of using him, and that is for his jump-ins. But his partner is going to be a little odd. I'm going to go with Pepsi Can. As you can see, my Pepsi Can's kind of old. He's out of date. He's got old ISOs on him. I'm going to go ahead and leave the Obliterator in. And that's because this team is going to deal all with energy. We'll leave the Elixir of Recovery. We need that. Now, the cube at this point, we can do a couple things. We can go for the Chitter Chatter Box. We could go for the Psychic Amplifier. We could go for the Flaming Post, which may set up a flank and a Pyrophoric, which is good. We can protect the team with the Raft Shank. We can get extra attacks from the Coulson's Revenge, which is also energy. But let's stay with the cube, and let's jump in and see this nifty little setup over here. Hopefully we won't be dealing with a Mystic, which will slow things down a little bit. So, interesting group. There's a Blaster on the other side, which is great for us, but they have an Infiltrator, which sucks. So, what we're going to do here is not go with the full overcharge quite yet. I'm just going to go ahead and bang away at their Blaster. Oh good, actually no, I didn't want to hit their Blaster. I'm glad that I hit Moon Knight over there, and there's a reason for that. The reason is I want the Tankard to pull Iron Patriot from time and space to me. So I don't want him exhausted already. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Elixir of Recovery. Not because I particularly need to clean myself off, but because I want Rocket Raccoon getting crits, and I want War Machine following me up. So we're going to lead with the Power Cell, and we're going to get Kitty Pryde in my face, unfortunately. This is a very, very odd team up. I don't understand the synergy of this team. And it's potentially dangerous to run on defense. Having an Infiltrator and a Blaster on a defensive team and a crazy guy like Moon Knight. Very, very odd. So here you see Rocket Raccoon jumped in on the second attack of the Obliterator. So now I'm going to end on the Blackest Void. Now watch what's going to happen now. This is a great setup for my Iron Patriot. I almost messed up by attacking the Blaster. Fortunately, the Scrapper joined in. So we're going to go full overcharge. And I don't have to worry about Blackest Void because it's an AoE. And now we're going to have some fun. There's the first attack. And watch what's going to happen on the second one. Trigger Happy's going to proc on Rocket Raccoon. And more radiation is going to go out. Now look at how low the enemy team is already. And 2 Trigger Happies are going to fall. So there's 1. Stun on Kitty Pryde. And there's 2. So we couldn't ask for a better first round over here. The enemy team is debuffed to hell. The Infiltrator is going to be stunned and lose a turn. Unfortunately, Moon Knight's a little buffy there. But these other guys are debuffed. Now, unlike the AntiVenom one, KERPLOWIE is not really the big thing here. And their team's so weak, we're just going to go ahead and use Blam Blam Blam. Unfortunately, the agent dodges, and Kitty Pryde doesn't die. But Pyrophoric probably could take her out. We'll see what happens. A weak Shadow Kick in return. Lucky on the Nimble there because his Moon Knight's getting a little buffy. Hopefully Blackest Void will have him attacking one of his own people. Or he can just die. So here's the Force Recharge on Pepsi Can. We knew that's coming. Their agent's gonna go. He can't really do much to me. So, wow, primed and ready for the cracked staff. Not even the good staff, he uses the cracked one. Oh boy, oh boy. Well, my agent is not going to use the suit over here because I can only do one thing, and that's the Light Fantastic. So now my team is clean. I have to recharge, which is okay. She dies to debuffs. And let's see if maybe he's going to live for the big KERPLOWIE. I'm pretty sure War Machine's going to take him out. But if not, we'll have some fun. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to recharge. I want to see what this guy does. He just dies. So, there you go. There are 2 team-ups for Rocket Raccoon, Math Fox, Rocky, and 2 very different styles in which you can play Rocket Raccoon. You can go for the opportunistic debuffs, that's people like AntiVenom, Wasp. Wasp with Swarming might be fantastic. And the big setup there is the KERPLOWIE, kind of like an AoE silly gun from Deadpool. Or orient him towards the jump in and his trigger happy and pair him up with somebody like you saw in my previous video with Sif in the Berserking, Iron Patriot in the 21 gun salute, or people like that. And of course these guys have nice little synergy because of the energy and the fire and the pyrophoric, using the tanker to pull War Machine through space and time a little bit there. The big key is you don't want your War Machine exhausted so quickly in the first round. If Pepsi goes before your agent, don't attack a blaster. attack somebody else and allow your agent to give him the second turn, which will be after your Obliterator, which is kind of the goal over there. If he gets in both of his attacks before the Obliterator, I think it's a little bit of a waste. You're still going to get Rocket Raccoon jumping in, but the crits aren't guaranteed. If you use the tankard and then Pepsi Can does his 21 gun salute, that means Rocket Raccoon's follow-ups or jump-ins will all be crits. Extra damage, why not? So, hope you enjoyed this video here on G4G, Games for Gamers, on Marvel Avengers Alliance, and some of Rocket Raccoon and his team-ups. Take care.